All right. So this game is a Zerg versus Zerg, my least favorite matchup on the face of the earth. Um. Oh, I'm not going to worry about telling you whether I win or lose because this is a learning experience. So he was like tricky probe icon Zerg player because my icon is indeed a probe. Let's see. Ooh, I think I'm doing these. I may be doing these out of order. I forget how this game goes. But this game, I believe I go for the same basic build. Now, I do one thing pretty bad in this game, and you'll see it in a few seconds. And well, maybe not a few seconds. There's a moth flying around my head. I don't like it. It's right here. You see this guy. He's doing. This is what is typically in the community called cheese. Unfortunately, when I was Zerg, this was like my go-to build. What he does was my go-to build for other Zergs, just because I hated ZVZ so much. But I do pretty standard. I go for the 14 pull. It's usually a pretty safe build. One thing that I screw up is the Scouter. Had I sent the Scouter out when I built my Overlord, I would have seen this and I would already be reacting to it. Because his spawning pool is out. He's got Zerglings out right now. My spawning pool isn't even done yet. If I had had that Scouter, I would have known to cut pro production or cut drone production and start work on other things. And then to make matters even worse, 300 monies right down the drain. Now, one thing that I do extremely well is I've pretty good map awareness. I saw the red dot slide up past. Hold on. Yeah. This Overlord, I saw the drone slide up past here. And then, knowing the speed of the drone, I said to myself, that drone should be scouting around. But he wasn't. What's he doing? And then this actually pops up in the corner, which is really unfortunate for him, because sometimes it comes outside the fog of war, sometimes it doesn't, but I knew that he was there regardless, and 4 drones is the magic number. 4 drones will take out a proxy spine crawler. Because I was so familiar with that build, I knew exactly what he was doing, I knew exactly what was coming, I knew exactly what to build, so I started building my own Zerglings. One thing that a lot of new players will do that is kind of wrong is, well, there are 2 different things. One is they will use their drones to fight, nothing but their drones to fight. 2 is they're afraid to use their drones to fight and will never use their drones to fight. If the other player is doing an all-in like he is right now, and this little drone confirms it, he's going all in. His economy is way underneath mine, and he needs to do some serious damage, which he has yet to do yet. Yeah, which he has yet to do yet. So we see 15 harvesters to 7. One thing that he is successfully doing, though, is forcing my workers off the mineral line, and you'll see my income plummet to 0 every now and again, which is pretty effective, but he let me get this base up, which is bad, and I'm honestly playing this a lot better than I thought I would. I've got Zerglings on the way. As soon as I have more Zerglings than he has Zerglings, I just attack his Zerglings with my Zerglings and leave my drones at home to mine, because I need to keep that income advantage, and if he keeps my workers off the mineral patches, then he can actually start to overwhelm me. You can see he's starting to pile up the minerals, and I'm starting construction on my queen, which will give me a little bit of a ranged attack so that I can just, deal some extra damage. And I wasn't too sure what to expect at this point, but I did stop creating Zerglings, which was a little bit of a mistake because he was just pumping them out. There I was thanking him for the rush because I held it off and I showed how to successfully stop a rush. Right now, I have triple the workers. which is not a fun place for that guy to be. And here he comes. He actually does a lot of damage, because I think I was typing something else to him, and then that happened, and then I was kind of pissed off. Actually, I was really pissed off, because I was like telling him how nice he was, and then he was like, "I'm gonna kill your workers now." Yeah, whatever, bitch. I'm gonna eat you. Look at me. Num 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 num. Say my Zerglings. His Zerglings don't know shit, but that's fine. Zerglings don't have to, because they're just little hoppies. Analyzing. What is there to be analyzed that hasn't been said? Oh, in this instance, a good thing for me, well, possibly a good thing for me to be building would be Banelings, but I was pretty far behind on my Vespene Yas production. As at the moment, I wasn't sure what was going on in his base. Honestly, at this time, I thought that he would have had more workers and possibly going for Mutatech. I'm not sure if you see. I can't remember if I did it this game or not, but I started putting Spore Crawlers down just in case he started getting Mutalisks out. I can't remember if that was this game or a different one. But I didn't know it at the time because my scouting was really piss poor this game. That's another thing that I did wrong. But with the way he was applying constant pressure, I was more concerned about getting my defenses up than scouting and seeing what he was doing. But I'm going to speed this up because there's not really much going on. Here I'm just using my queen to get an overlord out of my base so that he can't see what I'm doing because, yeah, right here it is, my Evo chamber. I got that just because I thought there were Mutalisks. I held off a push at the front, but apparently just barely, if I recall correctly. What he does the first time, and it didn't show it, was he fought me. He fought me in this area, and I had Zerglings that were getting his Zerglings all caught up. I believe he outnumbered me something like 2-1. But because this was there, and it was just poking his Zerglings to death, I ended up winning. So what you want to try to do is, wherever you have these spine crawlers, you want to try to keep his army around them so the spine crawlers are doing damage. They have a pretty high DPS for a static defensive unit. But what he does right here this time around is actually pretty smart. He goes around and tries to take out my queen, which will stop me from larva injecting and all that other stuff, but I have too many Zerglings and he just can't get close enough to do damage. Well, do the damage that he needs. He did damage. But here he comes again. He does something else that's pretty smart. While I'm distracted, injecting larva, trying to get that queen away, he comes in again to attack the spine crawler. The spine crawler just barely survives that time, but he's getting weaker and weaker, and my economy is finally starting to kick in and really show his balls. I got my layer up. I now have my own mutas coming up, and I believe it was around this time, around that push, that I realized that his Zerglings didn't have metabolic boost, so there was no way that he was taking up. And I think that's when I realized that I had the game in the bag. And at this point, I was really just trying to show you proper technique of, I don't know, just holding off an aggressive opponent. But one thing to keep in mind is, if your aggressive opponent is getting an economy back up behind it, which I'd never scouted for, which is a huge fault on my part. I actually just started to send this guy down. You really want to have overlords being down there already. I also sent these 2 Zerglings down to check out what was going on. But what I do, or my plan with the Spire, was if he did have an economy, I would be able to get a few Mutalisks, go into his base, and do some damage to the economy while his army was at the front, because what he was doing was effectively containing me. Now, I could have broken the contain at any moment if I felt necessary, but he had a soft contain, is what it's called. He just held me to where I was and didn't really let me go any further, but that didn't matter because I came down here, saw that he didn't have a natural, and I was like, well, this is just silly. Even right here you can see I fought him in an area that made sure my spine crawler could get them. And then for some reason he says Zerg Imba, like Zerg is OP, but I don't understand. Whatever. That game, really, use that more for the rush defense. What I did defending that rush was pretty much how you want to deal with all rushes, especially Zerg or Terran rushes. Protoss rushes when with dealing with Zealots is a little bit different, but more or less the same. And if he gets 3 Zealots in your base and you have less than 6 Zerglings, you're going to die anyway, so keep that in mind.